Good evening, everyone. Today, let's see an important concept called demand in economics. To start with, what is a demand? Demand is nothing but a ability of a person and the person's willingness to buy a good or service of their choice at a particular price. So, when we say demand, it is just not that we are willing to buy, it is also that we have the ability to buy the product. Now, here the term ability indicates the purchasing power. Purchasing power means we have the money, that amount of money through which we can buy a product, that particular proper product at a particular price. So, demand is such a concept which has a very high importance in management, in marketing, in economics. What influences demand? These are the very important factor which influences demand. First one is price of a commodity. When we say price of a commodity, all of us know that everybody buy a product based on its price. So if the price is very attractive for an individual and he has that amount of money, he will definitely buy the product. So it is the first thing we see for a product is whether the price is suitable for us or not according to our purchasing power. Second is income of the consumer. Now, every income group has their own choice and preferences. So it's the based on individual's income, we decide what kind of a product or what type of pricing we should look for. If my income is very low, probably if I want to buy a dress, I'll go the minimum, maybe for 500. But I have a very decent salary. I'll go for even 1,500 rupees dress. And I think all of us know that the very rich people like Ambani, their clothes are costing 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs, like that. That means it is depends on the income of the consumer. He demands or she demands a product which is highly priced also. But the price is influenced again by the income. Income of the consumer is a key, it plays a key role in making the decision of buying a product. So if we want to buy a car, it based on our income, we'll go for a small car or for a sedan car or for a big car. This is one factor which influences the demand. Next is price of related goods. When we say related goods, what does it mean? It means there are two type of related goods. One is substitutes and another one is complementary. So we can find in the market substitute products or we can find complementary product. When we say substitute, it is like we can have one for the other. For example, tea and coffee are substitutes because both are beverages. Coming to complementary, it's car and petrol. Without petrol, car won't run, right? But you can say that yes, today a lot of EV cars are there. So, of course, but relation is there. Only car will never, it needs an energy. So, it could be a petrol or it could be a EV, right? So, that is a kind of complementary, we say complementary goods. Now, price of related good influences demand. What does it mean is If the price of one good increases or decreases, it influences the demand for another good. For example, if the price of tea increases, now people won't prefer tea. They'll prefer coffee because now coffee's price is same, but tea's price increased. So what we'll do? We'll buy coffee instead of tea. Now looking at this is the example of substitute and coming to complementary example. If the price of petrol increases further, do you think that petrol car will be in demand? It will be in less demand. See, already there is a wave of EV cars in the market. So people are preferring EV cars because uh, it is cheaper than the fuel, petrol. So any of this, whether it is a substitute or whether it is a complementary goods, but it influences demand because of one, the other's demand is getting influenced. So this is one factor. Coming to taste and preference, it's just not the price, income, or the price of the related goods, but also the taste and preference of the individual, which influence demand. Now, I like certain kind of product. Irrespective whether the price is high or price is low, I like to have or buy that product. So that is my taste and preference. For example, now all of us know that smartphones are in trend, and it's just not only in trend, it also has lot of features which is very essentials today. The features which are in the smartphone are no more a very luxurious thing. It is all very essential features it has. For example, UPI, for example, touchscreen is very kind of important now. So in this scenario, nobody will prefer a button phone. So if somebody gives to a youngster, take a button phone free also, the youngster will never take it because it's a two, three things are there in it. One is button phone doesn't, suits with or, fulfill the wants, whatever type of work they want to do in a phone. That is one. Second is it is out of fashion. So people won't prefer it. This is also one of the, determinants of demand. Next is expectation. When you have a, you're expecting future price will increase or decrease. You're expecting future income will increase or decrease. There will be a change in demand. If I'm thinking that if I come to know that next year I'll get a promotion, that means I'm expecting there is future change or increase in income. When it is that, what will I do? I already start planning of how to spend that extra 10,000 rupees, assume. So my demand increases when I know that there is an increase in the future uh, price of a product, the future income. If I come to know, for example, gold or share in stocks, the price of whichever share is increasing and we are expecting that in future it will increase, we'll buy or we'll demand that share today itself, though it is high, but still we would like to buy that product because we are expecting that tomorrow it will increase. Coming to the next slide. Types of demand. There are various types of demand. First is price demand. All of us know demand influenced by price, and price is one of the most important factor. So first type is price demand. What does it mean? It means the demand of a product is based on the price. The quantity of goods and services are bought on the basis of the price quoted by the seller. See, sometimes we land up buying a bigger size or higher quantity is just because the price is lower comparison to the single product. Sometimes we go to salon and there they say that if you go for a haircut alone, it is 500. But if you go with haircut, pedicure, massage, it is 1,000 rupees. Though it is 1,000, we still buy that because we feel that if I buy these things separately, it will cost more. But since it is clubbed together, it is like coming at a better price. And it is the price which determines the demand. Next is income demand. It refers to the those type of demand where a consumer, uh, you know, uh, want to buy a good or service based on the income, based on his or her income. So at different income stage, they buy at a different levels. Maybe a higher quality product, or it could be a superior style product. That is income demand. Based on my income, if I'm demanding a particular product. Cross demand. A product's demand does not depend on its own cost, but depends on the cost of the other related goods. As I told just now, related goods, substitutes and complementary, it implies or it influenced by that. Cross demand says that when the cost of a related goods influences the demand of a original good, then it is called cross demand. Direct demand, whenever the demand for a product is direct. For example, if you want to buy a computer, you're buying a computer, that's a direct demand. Derived demand, that is indirect demand. You, it is not direct, it is indirect because it is derived by the other demand. For example, um, like demand of fans derives the demand of the capacitor inside the fan. There is a small capacitor will be there inside a fan, in a normal ceiling fan. Generally, we don't demand the capacitor, but we demand the fan, which indirectly lead to the demand of the capacitor. If you are demanding fan, that means you are demanding the capacitor also. That is what is derived demand. Joint demand. Joint demand means with one product, many other things are clubbed. That type of demand is called as joint demand. For example, you want, here there is one example called, um, you want to make bread. So you just don't only need flour, right? You also need the fuel or the oven. You also need the ingredients which you require to prepare the bread. That is what is, you actually want to make a bread, but to make a bread, many other things you require, not only flour. So that is what is a joint demand. For one product, many other things we are demanding. That is called a joint demand. Composite demand. When the good or service is utilized for many things, for example, milk, for example, water. Water is you need for, quench your thirst. You also need to plant, to pour on the plants. You also need for construction. You also need for household, work. You also, everywhere we need water. So water had lot of uses, and that is why it is composite demand. Like water, I can say even milk. You need milk for milk. You need milk for butter, curd, ghee, sweets. That's a composite demand. So these are the types of demand. Next is law of demand. Law of demand is a very fundamental law which says that higher the price, lower the quantity demanded, and lower the price, higher the quantity demanded, keeping all other factors constant. That means when price is high, an individual will not demand much for that product. And when price falls, the quantity demanded changes or increases. So, this is the law given by the Marshall, Alfred Marshall. And this law indicated with a diagram which has a downward sloping curve. We have a demand curve which is here. Sorry. This is a demand curve. And here we have shown like when the price is P1, quantity demanded is Q1. You can look at, see here how less amount is demanded. When the price falls from P1 to P2, the quantity demanded increases to Q2. Now the quantity demanded from 0 to Q2. Now, whenever the price is high, demand is less. Whenever the price is less, demand is high. So what kind of a relationship price and the quantity demanded has got in law of demand? An inverse relationship, a total opposite relationship. When the price is high, the demand is low. When the demand is high, or sorry, when the price is low, demand is high. Now, this exceptions uh, exceptions to the law of demand means there are certain times when the law of demand does not apply. Into those circumstances, a few of them are mentioned here. Number one, giffen goods. Giffen goods are a type of goods. These are actually inferior quality goods. And there was a study, let me tell the origin of this kind of goods and how this entire concept have come. Giffen goods are actually given this name from the name Robert Giffen, who conducted a study in America among the very poor people. And he found that law of demand doesn't exist or apply to the inferior goods. That means when the price of the inferior good falls, people don't buy the same inferior goods more. They instead, they buy something else, little bit a superior product. Now, let me tell you this point very clearly with the example of what is given by the Robert Giffen. When he conducted the survey among the very poor people in America who used to eat bread for their survival, he asked them if the price of the bread fall, what they do. Do they buy 2, 3 extra bread or what they do? And in that, it was very astonished to, looking at the result that they express that they don't buy more of the bread when the price of the bread fall. A 10 rupees bread is now available at 5 rupees doesn't make them to buy 2 loaf of bread instead. What he said is he found that people instead of buying 2 bread, they buy some meat along with bread they eat because 10 rupees bread now became 5 rupees. So they have 5 rupees extra in their hand instead of buying extra of the bread. They buy something else which is superior in quality. Next type of good is Veblen good is again on the basis of the name of the founder who found out this kind of goods, Mr. Veblen. What he said is there are some goods which are very superior in nature, and people buy those goods only when the price is high, and they don't buy when the price is low. For example, diamonds. Diamonds are such commodities which are, assumed as one of the very, very, precious stones. So, and these could be worn by people with, lot of income, with high income and all that. So, what Veblen said is when the price of such superior quality goods falls, people don't buy that because many products are bought because they are very expensive, and the holder of those products can show in the society that he belongs to a different cadre of level. Change in future price. This is another thing where law of demand doesn't apply. Sometimes we find that the price of the shares is increasing, but the demand for the same share is also increasing. It's not decreasing. Why that happens? Because they are expecting that in future the price of the share will further increase. Now, this is what also we could see in gold. Today, gold's price is almost 12,000. On if I say you today's exactly today's price, it was 12,000. And still, yet people are buying more and more because why? Because are expecting that in future it will be much higher than this. So let's buy today itself. Fourth point is emergency. Emergency or urgency is a point that when there is an emergency, if we have met with an accident, do we look at the price of any product or price of any service, price of any hospital? No, we don't, because at that time it's very important to only save the life rather than understanding the prices related to the hospitals and all that. So that is another thing where law of demand does not exist because of the emergency aspect. Change in fashion, taste, and preference. As I told, it's very important that what is in fashion, what is in trend, and people prefer to have that in trend. And when even if something is in trend that is costlier, but still people buy those products more than the outdated product. Now coming to the demand forecasting. What is demand forecasting? Forecasting means predicting the future demand. It's very important in any business because everything is based on forecasting. Only we forecast properly, we know that how to supply. So, to have a basic understanding what is forecasting refers to the process of making predictions about future economic conditions or future price, anything, really future market preferences, everything. That is called as demand forecasting. And this forecasting can be done through various methods. One is qualitative methods and one is quantitative methods. Qualitative methods, let us start with consumer survey method. This is the first method where a person can conduct a survey for the um, consumers and find out what could be the future demand for the product. They can ask the consumer what they want or which type of style of product they want. Consumer survey can be done and you can understand what could be the future demand. Like, nowadays we all know that now people are getting used to OTT. I think the demand for OTT is becoming higher if you compare with the going to theater and seeing a movie. So slowly there is a shift in all the preferences of in the entertainment world. Similarly, EV, I can say. So people are demanding more EV stations and all that is because EV is a cheaper energy and which can be very nicely used for the motorbikes as well as for the cars. Coming to Salesforce opinion method. Second method is Salesforce opinion method. So Salesforce opinion method is when we collect the information from the Salesforce about what could be the demand for a product. Next is expert opinion method. This method is also called as Delphi technique. Now, what is this method? Here, experts are surveyed or They get the opinion of the expert about a certain things. For example, this is very common when we discuss about the macroeconomic concepts. So it is like very difficult for an individual to talk about what could be the future economic conditions will be in this new political system, or new setup. So expert, because they are expertise in a particular area of study, and they have an idea about different issues or different areas of study. Hence they can give a very accurate picture about what could be the future impact on our purchasing, what could be future impact on the businesses, all that. So this method is called an expert opinion method. Now, all these three are qualitative techniques. The quantitative techniques actually are more. First one is trend projection method. What is trend projection method? Assessing the past trend and predicting the future. When you study 10 years data, continuously about the performance of a company, you can predict what it would be even in the next year, is because what is the performance of yours for the last 6 7 years definitely indicate that what could be even in the future. This is trend projection method. Economic indicator method. Now what is this economic indicator method? For example, what could be the future demand for the material, building construction material? Then you should look at the registration done for the building construction. How many registration in entire Delhi it is? It indicates that what could be the future demand for cement, for steel, and all the building construction material. So these are called as economic indicator method. With few indicators, you can calculate the demand and you can project it what could be in the next year or in the future coming further 6 months. Next is correlation method. Correlation method is a statistical method. Like correlation, one can use any other method also for the purpose of statistical calculation. This correlation method gives the understands the value of two different parties, or the relation between the two factors, that how well they are related to each other. So this is what is correlation method. Next important aspect which is related to demand is elastic and inelastic. Elasticity. But let us see what is elastic and what is inelastic. When we say elastic, it means in demand, when we say elastic demand, it means a small change in price leads to a large change in quantity demanded. Inelastic means there is no change in demand or very less change in demand due to any change in price. Even the price is changed to a very great extent, there is no big change in the demand. This is called inelastic. Let's now see elasticity of demand. The degree of change in the demand in response to a change in any economic factor related to the demand of a product is called elasticity of demand. There is a formula for it. Change in quantity demanded divided by change in demand determinant. When I say demand determinant, it is uh, price, income, price of the related commodities, expectation of the future income or expenditure. Types of elasticity of demand. Elasticity of demand is of three types: price elasticity, income elasticity of demand, cross elasticity of demand. First, price. Since all of us know that price is one of the prime factor in the entire business, or especially in the um, price of a product. So, price elasticity of demand is the ratio percentage change in quantity demanded to the percentage change in price. Income is the ratio of percentage change in the quantity demanded to the percentage change in income. So, if there is change in income, but which has influenced a lot on the change in quantity demanded, then it is called income elasticity. Cross elasticity is change in quantity demanded of good 1 or good X to the percentage change in the price of the good Y. Always cross elasticity talks about the price of one product which influences the demand for another product. Let us see now the price or price elasticity of demand, the different types of price elasticity of demand. Number one is perfectly elastic, perfectly inelastic, unitary elastic, relative elastic, relatively inelastic. Perfectly elastic. A small change in price leads to an infinite change in demand. This is called perfectly elastic. Perfectly inelastic. Any change or higher change in price leads to almost no change in quantity demanded. So there are products, like if I want to buy a matchbox, do I really need to think that how much price I am putting in buying a matchbox? So that means if the price of the matchbox changes, falls or increases, there is not going to be much change in the quantity demanded. Coming to unitary elastic. A proportionate change in price leads to a proportionate change in quantity demanded. So whatever percentage change in price happens, the same percentage change happens in the quantity demanded. That is called unitary elastic, which is always ED is equal to 1. Relatively elastic. Relatively elastic means a small change in price leads to a greater change in quantity demanded. It is called relatively elastic, and this is indicated with price elasticity of demand, which is always greater than 1. Relatively inelastic, a large change in price leads to a small change in quantity demanded, where the price elasticity of demand is smaller than 1. Income elasticity of demand, these are the types of income elasticity. Same, these also are like high elastic, uh, a small change in price, a small change in income, leads to a high change in demand. In the normal day-to-day products, it's based on that. High elastic, you can see. Unitary elastic is proportionate change in income leads to a proportionate change in the quantity demanded. Low elastic is when there is a high change in price leads to a very low change in quantity demanded. Zero elastic, that means no change in demand, which indicates zero elastic, which means no change in um, quantity demanded, whatever is the change in income. Negative elastic, that means this generally leads to the inferior goods, where when the income increases, the consumption of such goods decreases. The inferior goods we consume less when our income increases, and when our income is less, we consume more of those inferior quality goods. Thank you. With this, I will close the today's demand chapter. Thank you.